Francisco de Miranda is venerated as the precursor to Venezuela's supposed freedom. He was of Canary Island descent, born in the valley of La Orotava in Tenerife. His father amassed a great fortune. His adolescence was marked by social discrimination faced by people from the peninsula and the Canaries. The antagonism that the Montuan elites, Creoles descended from the conquerors, had against his father, who was classified at the time as a white from the shore due to his role as a merchant and European, disqualified him from holding the position of captain of the Caracas White Militia Battalion according to the Montuan value scale. It is evident that resentment is one of the underlying reasons that justified and motivated his future actions. Tired of the discrimination from Venezuelan Montuan elites due to social status, his father sent him to mainland Spain. As a Spanish military officer, he had a respectable service record, highlighted by his performance during the Siege of Melilla. His military career included participation in various conflicts, including the Spanish invasion of Algiers, the Battle of Pensacola during the American War of Independence, and the conquest of the Bahamas. However, while on a mission in Jamaica under the pretext of negotiating a prisoner exchange, he began to operate on the edge of legality, becoming involved and accused in an illegal smuggling affair and providing relevant information about Cuba's military defenses to the English. He did not wait for the resolution of the conflict, which was compounded by issues with the Inquisition due to possession of forbidden books, nor did he defend his alleged innocence. Choosing the path of desertion, he abandoned his homeland and fled to the United States. Later, he would be acquitted of charges, but the damage was already done. He was a deserter and became a stateless person. During his stay in the United States, he immersed himself in the experience of the recent independence process in which that nation was involved, possibly adopting the idea born from the North American experience for his own homeland as a way forward, given his situation of being unable to return to any territory under Spanish rule, where he was a proscribed person. On this premise, in 1784, he sailed to England seeking support, which he did not find, for his seditious ideas, believing that country was the most interested in the fragmentation of his then true homeland. From there, he moved to the European continent, traveling through various nations until he ended up serving in the French Revolutionary Army in 1791, aligned with the Girondin Party, and was appointed field marshal. In this army, he narrowly escaped being guillotined due to a criticized retreat of troops in Maastricht, where he was accused of negligence, arrested, imprisoned, and tried. He was acquitted of charges in 1795, but shortly after, in 1798, he sailed back to England and then to the United States, leaving behind his revolutionary adventures in France, which had come dangerously close to costing him dearly. He stayed in the United States until 1806, where he managed to deceive a famous smuggler into a reckless venture that was supposed to culminate in liberating Spanish America from Spanish rule and creating a country that spanned from the Mississippi to Patagonia, to be called Colombia. Such a lack of originality, it was nothing more than what already existed, but excluding the peninsula, and in a federal republic format, where members of the executive power would hold the title of Incas and be required to meet predetermined economic standards. Nothing more, nothing less. The start of that adventure was to attack Venezuela from Haiti with 3 ships to garner popular support from the civilian population. After failing in a landing attempt in northern Venezuela, when they were caught in a naval battle with Spanish ships, losing 2 and about 60 men, Miranda fled to Trinidad with the remaining ship, the Leander. There, he gained support from the island's governor, obtaining logistical and human resources for a new intervention on the coast of Coro in Venezuela. This time with 300 men and 11 ships. The surprise was that he received no popular support. On the contrary, the civilian population fled in terror at such an intrusion. After several fruitless days, they weighed anchor and returned to Trinidad with their tails between their legs, following a futile effort that resulted in being seen as outlaws by those whom Miranda had hoped would give him unconditional support. In the face of such failure, in 1807 he returned to England to restart efforts to gain new support for his failed enterprise, and he succeeded. An English expedition was formed for this purpose, but the events of May 2nd in Spain changed the priorities of the English, who preferred to ally with Spain against the Napoleonic invasion of the peninsula, leaving him stranded once again, but only temporarily. During this period, until 1810, he focused on spreading his seditious plans, publishing a printed work called El Colombiano. Taking advantage of the uncertainty caused by the situation in Spain and the insecurity in the governance of its territories, a commission from the Supreme Government Junta of Caracas, of which Simón Bolívar was a part, presented itself in England. This allowed him to learn about the independence process brewing in Caracas among the Montuan elites, becoming the main advisor to this commission during its stay in England. Persuaded by them, Miranda embarked on his return in 1810. Finally, he could reap the fruits of so many years of effort. Once there, he was received by Bolívar and appointed by the government junta as Lieutenant General of the Venezuelan armies and a delegate to the Constituent Congress. On July 5, 1811, he signed the Declaration of Independence of Venezuela. The immediate consequence was that, in the same month of July, the royalists in the city of Valencia rose in arms against the arbitrariness of the Caracas Montuan elites, who, believing themselves omnipotent, assumed it was their divine right to impose their own criteria and govern the nation they had just invented for their particular interest and whim, based on their likes, dislikes, and with the aim of preserving their privileges. Miranda was thus chosen by the executive as the head of the armed forces, capturing the city of Valencia after bloody combats. After the earthquake that destroyed Caracas in 1812 and finding himself amidst various insurrections, he was granted extraordinary powers, acquiring dictatorial authority. Miranda was the master and lord, but only for a short time. His trust in Bolívar was sufficient for him to entrust him with the military command of Puerto Cabello. A grave mistake, as he lost the fortress to the benefit of the royalists after a display of negligent incompetence in his duties. The loss of Puerto Cabello deprived the Republican side of its main arsenal. Finding himself in dire straits due to constant desertions, the advance of royalist troops, slave rebellions, and the unpopularity of the independence cause, and knowing that he would pay dearly for the crimes against civilians and clergy he had already committed during his brief time in command, Miranda sought to negotiate an armistice with royalist General Monteverde, to save his own skin, which meant yet another escape. One of many. But this time with the Republic's treasury, which he managed to board onto an English ship and was never heard from again. The traitor betrayed. Miranda signed the capitulation on July 25, 1812, in San Mateo. His Minister of Finance, Antonio Fernández de Leon, defected to the royalist side while negotiating on behalf of the independents. Miranda's capitulation was interpreted as treason by Bolívar and other young officers, who even intended to execute him for betrayal. As he was about to depart from the port of La Guaira, he was captured by Bolívar, who had also won Monteverde's favor in exchange for handing Miranda over to the royalists, thus saving his own skin. He was sent to Cadiz, Spain, where he died on July 14, 1816, forgotten by all, just as happens with traitors, especially the most recalcitrant, particularly if they commit their treacherous actions with traitors of their own kind. Just his case.